Welcome to Wilkow and happy Independence Day weekend. I'm your host, Andrew Wilkow. Well, just like Memorial Day, sadly, this day, Independence Day, has lost its meaning for millions of citizens of the Republic. Citizens of the Republic. How often do you hear that phrase? Nowadays, almost never. For quite some time, Democrats have watered down the term citizen and have replaced republic with democracy. Spoiler alert, the word democracy doesn't even appear in the Constitution, but the phrase Republican form of government does. Go ahead, look it up, Article 4, Section 4. You know, you can use that the next time your liberal idiot friend tells you we don't have a right to secure the borders. But the Democrats keep saying democracy, even now some Republicans do it. And lately, after a decade or more of being kind of butthurt by accusations of not being patriotic, the progressives have found themselves a shiny new weapon, calling conservatives and Republicans unpatriotic. I know. Stop laughing.
What we know is that the president now believes it's okay to take dirt, Oppo research, from a foreign government. He says it's okay. Does that square with your committee's decision not to impeach him?
Thank you, Chris, for your question. What Donald Trump said is un-American, unpatriotic, and unbelievable.
I don't want to see any of those flag pins anymore on Republicans who don't stand up against this guy for Russian meddling and other things that he's done. It seems as though he's unpatriotic.
If what you're doing is cutting the taxes at the high end and therefore not being allowed to invest in the future, you're doing a grave disservice to our country. Some patriots.
There's nothing better than Joy Behar giving Dan Crenshaw a lecture on patriotism. How on earth can these leftists dare to call Constitution-loving, meat-eating, gun-toting, pickup truck driving, straight-marrying people of the good book, Old and New Testaments, unpatriotic? Well, easy. Ever since the New Deal, the left has claimed that big government socialist policies and dependency are the new true American thing to do. Patriots are now socialists. And anything else like supporting the free market or actually standing up for our country against foreign leaders, not deferring always to the Europeans and everyone else, and while making America great again, are somehow now the un-American things to want to do. You know, way back in 1961, a prophet, Ronald Reagan, warned us about this.
Back in 1927, an American socialist, Norman Thomas, 6 times candidate for president on the Socialist Party ticket, said the American people would never vote for socialism. But he said under the name of liberalism, the American people will adopt every fragment of the socialist program.
That's right. They just changed the meaning of the word. That's how they did it. So now liberal Democrats don't mean people who believe in the democratic process with limited government. They mean socialism. They call it liberalism, but it's really socialism. And there's some statistics to back this up. Take a look at this doozy from the geniuses over at 538 about how patriotic Americans describe themselves. As between Republicans and Democrats, there were pretty big differences. A whopping 97% of Republicans placed themselves in the very patriotic or somewhat categories, compared with 71% of Democrats. That's about a gap of 26 percentage points. You know, I have a saying that I use a lot on my SiriusXM radio program. The old insanity is the new sanity. And the reverse, the old sanity is the new insanity. And what I mean is like fashion trends. What may have once looked crazy out there on the street becomes the it thing. So here's the argument. The hard left and their chosen political party, the Democrats, who are the ones pushing us off the Constitution, they are, while claiming to be the ones who call themselves patriotic. You know, there they are, they raise their right hand, they take an oath, and they say, quote, "I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic." Then they abandon the Constitution as it was written before lunchtime. It's kind of a funny thing to watch the Democrats tell us that with the help of progressives on the bench, they can go around doing things like banning religion from the public square because as good patriots, they found a wall of separation between church and state in the First Amendment. I got another spoiler alert for you, just like the word democracy, that wall of separation is not in there either. But as good patriots, they like to invoke their own religion when they want to breed dependency on the federal government. How patriotic. Oh, what patriots they are, right? Well, the truth is, the modern welfare system, which is not called for anywhere in the Constitution, was born out of the financial and human cost of World War I and then later the stock market crash of 1929. You see, it was largely centered around single mothers and children and was meant to be a temporary estate. But fast forward to today, and now it's a lifestyle and source of income for millions of Americans. Even with the massive economic growth created under the Trump administration, the Democrat left still promotes government dependence rather than independence. Ironic, I know. What they're now pushing for is fundamentally un-American. And thanks to the Heritage Foundation, we have some numbers on how this gradual abandonment of American individualism started. See, back in 1964, President Lyndon Baines Johnson declared a, quote, war on poverty. And since then, the government has spent over $22 trillion, with a capital T, trillion dollars in inflation-adjusted 2012 dollars on anti-poverty programs. In comparison, the Heritage Foundation also released this statistic from Obama, the Patriot, his first federal spending plan back in 2009. In his first 2 years in office, President Barack Obama increased annual federal welfare spending by 1/3, from $522 billion to $697 billion. And as a share of the economy, annual federal welfare spending rose by roughly 1.2% of GDP. And under Barack Obama, we doubled the debt of all previous administrations. And the best part of this, or should I say the worst part of this, is this all came after Obama called the debt increase under President George W. Bush unpatriotic. Again, stop laughing. Now, while trying to occupy the patriotic high ground, Democrats give us material that you just can't make up. I mean, if you really want to laugh or cry, let's play some of the hits, shall we?
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
Everyday immigrants commit crimes at a far lower rate than native-born Americans. And not only that, but the women and children on that border that are trying to seek refuge and seek opportunity in the United States of America with nothing but the shirt on their backs are acting more American than any person who seeks to keep them out ever will be.
Bullies don't win. And I said, baby, they don't, because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the motherfucker.
Nothing like those Democrat patriots. I know that stuff was easy pickings, it's low-lying fruit. And only a patriot like Ilhan Omar could actually call the people who died trying to free her from terrorist warlords murderers. Here's her tweet, quote, in his selective memory, he forgets to also mention the thousands of Somalis killed by the American forces that day. Hashtag not today, Satan. Those are actually elected officials earning our tax dollars and passing laws to govern us.